Hello and welcome back to the OOMAN channel. My name is Oliver, and today I'm going to take you through the little adventure we had repairing the bed on my son's 2005 F350. One of the problems with these trucks is that a lot of times there's some cross channels under the bed that tend to rust and rot out. We discovered this problem when we put a little bit of a load in it the other day and decided to take the bed off and see what we could do about it. Well, this weekend we're working on a project here, replacing some rotted cross rails. And of course the bolts don't want to come out, so we gotta grind the heads.
I honestly don't think a single time in my life a bolt has come out with a wrench. Ever.
After breaking two T50 Torx heads, we decided to cross-cut and chisel the heads off of the rest of the bolts. After goofing around with that for about an hour, we finally got them all out, and now it's time to take the bed off. We left the tailgate on and then hooked up a 4-point lifting harness to the tie-down points in the corner of the bed.
Watch your filler, make sure that comes out of the hole. Well, hold on, now we gotta check electrical lines.
We did find a couple more lines that we didn't think were connected to the bed, but once we got those loose, the cab came off and we flipped it upside down. Once assessing the damage, it was a little bit worse than we had anticipated. After taking a bunch of measurements, it was time to start fabricating the new rails that we're going to weld to the bottom of the bed. After welding and machining all the rails, we double-checked to make sure we had a flat surface, and then some of my son's buddies came by and brought some beer, so that was the end of day one. And here we are at the start of day two. We started cutting out all the old rails and all the rust in the bed. The shear was giving us some trouble with the corrugation, so we switched over and started using the grinder to cut everything else out. While my son was busy cutting and grinding, I decided that it was time to start making a template so that we can verify the dimensions that I took previously, and also to help us space the cross rails once they're ready to go onto the bed. We still had the holes from the original bed in the rear of the truck, and those will be our starting point, and then the rest of the rails will be set using this template to make sure everything ends up in the correct place and square. After a whole bunch of cutting and scraping and cleaning, finally got just about all the bad stuff out of here. We were going to originally put in just some patch panels into the openings, but we decided to have a change of plans. Instead of trying to patch in on the corrugated, what did we decide to do?
We're going to take this big old sheet and give her a new floor.
We're going to put in a subfloor. That way we'll still maintain some of the corrugation inside the bed, and we won't have little pockets where water will accumulate. So we painted the top side of this black already, just so that it won't rust too much if water were ever to get into there. And then once we have it in here, we're going to give it an entire perimeter weld all the way around the entire bed. Then we're going to flip it over, and then we're going to weld all the corrugated to the top of this thing, and then we're going to have to flip it back over again to put the rails back on. So we still got quite a bit of work to do. Let the welding begin. We spent most of day three welding the perimeter of the new floor and chasing pinholes. Took quite a bit longer than we were hoping. All right, I ran into a little snag with my idea. Wasn't going to work out with that wooden template, so we turned these little pins and made them the size of the hole and the size of the clearance hole. So that's what's going to locate it when we put the bed on top of the truck and line everything up for us and keep everything straight. After we got the bed on, everything lined up and squared up on the truck, we're ready to tack the crossbars onto the bottom of the bed. So in order to get to that, we had to take the wheels off. All right, after doing some work welding after work today, we're making some progress here, getting these cross rails in. Big ass welds. Truck bed will rust off and fall off around the truck before these things wear out. We got the new welding helmet, which is making him much happier.
And handsomer.
And handsomer, yeah. With the rails welded in, we're going to use this hole saw, and I set the bit to just barely protrude past the end of it so that the 1-inch hole will center the saw and allow me to put the holes through exactly where we need them to be. Voila, hole number 1. Perfect. It's been snowing non-stop like this since about 11:30-ish. And only about 3 inches of snow to go. Luckily, it's not sticking to the streets. All right, after 2 days of welding last weekend, welding for a couple hours after work all week, and all day today, which is Saturday, we finally got it done. Brandon's prepping the bed right now, getting it ready for paint. We had to do some additional patching once we started welding, so that added a little bit of time to it. But it's finally done, it's all cleaned up, and we're getting ready to go. Hopefully we'll get it back on tomorrow. And now it's time to flip it over and get some paint on the bedside. Well, after another fairly late night, we finally got it flipped over and got the first coat of paint put into the bed. We decided to go with a blue to accent the Ford. Fortunately, we got a bed liner that'll be going in there to cover it up, but not bad. Glad to be done. Today we're going to be putting it back on the truck and letting it sit overnight to dry. All right, we got the bed back on. All the bolts went where they were supposed to. We used 5/8 stainless steel hardware instead of the factory crap that was in there, and just had to use the original ones up on the front driver's side because there was no way to get at the things to put a nut on them for the gas tank being in the way. All right, well, after a couple of very long weekends and lots of these, we finally got it done. I think we would have been better off just getting a new bed.
Yeah, I would have been way deeper financially in the hole that way.
Well, we did this for a lot less money with stuff we had laying around the shop, but you know, a new bed would have definitely been easier. Unfortunately, when we looked around up here in the Chicago area, there weren't any available for 2005, and
Much less in the right color.
yeah, well, to find one, bring it up from Georgia or whatever, would have been a lot of money too. So we got it done.
Ditch the throwaway mentality. Fix it yourself.
Well, we got it all done, and it's Sunday afternoon, and we're gonna have a couple beers, clean up a little bit, and head out of here and go get washed up.
After all, I own a 6-liter. I earned this.
We both earned this. All right, well, I hope this was enjoyable for you guys, and maybe taught you something or motivated you to try to fix the stuff yourself. And we appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you soon.
Leave questions in the comments. We'd be happy to answer them.